Yo, back with another video after a very long time. So, the Donald Trump versus Cyril Ramaphosa and Elon Musk versus Julius Malema situation after the signing of the expropriation bill by the South African president has been in the mainstream and on YouTube commentary very much. Even the newspapers, print and digital, right across South Africa, there's articles everywhere speaking on what is currently happening between the big country over there, the United States, and us over here who've just received some sanctions and some privileges. We've had our toys taken away because the parent who apparently rules the world, the United States, can make people do things that they do not want. The land of freedom, the home of the brave. We're seeing this and we're wondering, okay, what is going on? So I've been conversational. I've been engaging on political issues in the past. If you've watched my channel quite recently, the very recent videos I've been doing, I sort of made a pivot over to speaking about relationships and marriage and Christ. However, that's not all that I can talk about. I actually have a love and interest in many different things, and that topic, choosing to go in that direction, speaking about love and marriage, was because that was a theme and topic that was covering my life and occupying it for the most part during that time. And so I decided to just speak on that and give advice to those issues. But besides being in a troubling marriage and solving it and wanting to share details to the rest of the people about how to do it, I am quite able to speak about many other things. I'm able to speak about technology. I love that very much, and cinematography, as well as politics. And I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you how. So let's bring this in by mentioning Mbuyiseni Ndlozi. If you've seen lately, he has resigned from the Economic Freedom Fighters. And this is a political party that I was supporting. And I declare it now, I am no longer a member of the Economic Freedom Fighters. In fact, just like Mbuyiseni Ndlozi has decided to back away from party politics, in his interview with SABC1, he mentioned that he will no longer be participating in party politics as a vehicle towards changing people's lives, motivating them out of poverty and struggle, awakening them and radically changing people's lives. He seems to believe that now politics is no longer that vehicle. And I've strangely been feeling so for some time now. I find that there's a place for the government and politicians and that field to play there, and we need that sort of structure in a democratic modern world. We need that. However, when it comes to the people, poverty, their lives, their struggles, I've become convinced by the capitalists. I've become convinced that they have the correct interpretation. They've got the scriptures kind of right. And I know this will sound crazy coming out of someone who was part of a socialist, communist, Marxist, whatever you call it, Leninist political organization. But it's the truth. It seems that capitalism and a person's own realizing of their internal potential and they themselves working it out with the help of the Lord, with the sweat of their brow, with the marrow in their bones, in their hips, in their elbows, by transforming of their mind and pursuing money and personal gain. I believe that is the right formula, and the capitalists kind of have it. And so Mbuyiseni Ndlozi is also saying that he thinks he will be going and making contributions in academia, or he'll be making contributions in forming a civil society organization, sort of similar to what the AfriForum has. So what am I saying about all of this? What I'm revealing to you is that I'm quite knowledgeable about politics. I'm watching in the background, though my mind has been occupied by a number of things. I'm a concerned South African. I'm an adult during this time in South Africa. I care about where the country is going. I have an experience in following a political party and its ideologies. I understand current affairs and geopolitics. Not gloating or anything. I guess I'm just trying not to be pigeonholed. Is it being pigeonholed? No, stereotype. I'm trying not to be stereotyped and seen in one dimension. And I'm trying to explain the pivot for those who are wondering what is suddenly happening and why we're now talking about Trump, US politics, etc. So I've said it. It's something that I'm able to speak about quite well. And it's a very popular topic currently for the algorithm. And you know that the algorithm is following, for the most part, the YouTube algorithm is able to recommend and give certain conversations power. You see it by political commentators. There's a lot of them. The Hassan Abis, the Kyle Kulinskis, who host Circular Talk. You see all of the right-wing channels and all of the left-wing channels weighing in now on South Africa. The whole title, the United States, South Africa, Sanctions. That's a very popular topic at the current moment. And being a new capitalist, well, I've always been a capitalist. I was just exploring a different philosophy within the EFF. They, at the time, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, when they were starting, they were giving this young, energetic vibe and there were no options. So we went along with a party that looks young, and then when they said Marxism is what we are following, we said, okay, that's fine. When they said Karl Marx and Lenin are the apostles and prophets of this religion, we just went with it. And then along the way, they started now straying from the whole pursuit for radical economic transformation. The topic went down a little bit. There was more leftist activism within the EFF towards the LGBTQ community, their protection. And so I was a capitalist within that situation. Certain things that I was listening to, I was just folding and wondering, what? Man, I came here for like radical economic transformation, but if you're saying we're Marxists and whatever, we'll march to this. But hey, being a capitalist, I am capitalizing on this event and what is currently happening in the United States. So I've taken a very long time to explain why the sudden switch. And I hope you will come along on this ride as we look at the impacts of what is happening. And we look at where it is coming from. And we analyze Donald Trump and Elon Musk, these who are white men. I hope you are not going to be triggered and very soft and very childlike as we are going to be discussing issues of race. I am actually going to be very honest about the false ideologies that I fell into when I was an EFF member. I'm going to be honest about the errors of my ways. I'm going to not praise the EFF and glorify it and sanctify it and present it as something sent down by God. No, I'm going to speak honestly about a time where I myself on Twitter was a very aggressive activist against white people. As an EFF member, our agenda was that. And as a young person growing up in South Africa, having attended a white school, I've experienced racism. I've experienced and I've read and seen so many bad and egregious, things that white people say about black people. Twitter has opened up that space. When I first discovered Twitter and I started becoming an EFF supporter and I started following the channels and the people who were advocates of the EFF, it's then that I came across the right-wingers in South Africa, the neo-Nazis in South Africa. If you know what neo-Nazis are, if you know that there's a people out there who are outright haters, these are people who do not obey God's law as it says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. They don't believe people of a different color are actually humans. They believe in that whole Darwin evolution, people being born as monkeys. So there's a claim and a belief there that says some evolved further down the ruler while others are still coming out of the jungle steadily. In fact, some are living there till today. So there's this spectrum that says, just look. Says, look, there's white people on this end, out of the jungle, in the cities, building aeroplanes, engineering, and look for yourself. There's indigenous black people living out in the bushes. So they can say, look, just look for yourself. You'll see that this one is quite close to the monkeys and this one is quite far away. So I started discovering that there are people who, on that side of the aisle, as much as we are being agitated and charged and gassed up to fight for economic transformation in a radical sense, while at the same time there was definite hate for white people being pushed into our minds, while participating, trying to say the EFF is a vehicle for our change, I started seeing on the other end of the fence people who are very, very, very hateful and intentionally so, without flinching. They're still alive till today. So now this brings us to the whole part where Elon Musk comes in, and he's now going back and forth with Julius Malema, and it's been going on for quite some time. Maybe around 2 years ago, I remember Julius tweeting Elon Musk in Sepedi, which is his native language. I think pretty much cussing him off. But then things have suddenly changed now that Donald Trump is president again, and he seemed to be forming a plutocratic regime in the United States. If you don't know what plutocracy is, it's rulership of a society by the very rich. At the current moment, we have governments and democracies, and we have the government being the top of all things, the boss, the ruler, the leader, the king. Despite how an Elon Musk can be richer than all politicians in the United States, we have the government, ultimately, the politicians as a whole, and the whole mechanisms and the whole institutions and departments of the government, that remains king no matter what, even though Elon Musk may be richer. But we're starting to see a situation where Elon Musk is so rich and so powerful, and the Silicon Valley giants, the billionaires, the Mark Zuckerbergs, the Larry Ellisons, the Bill Gates, the Sam Altmans, the Satya Nadellas, the Sundar Pichais of Google, the Jensen Huangs of Nvidia, the Paul Grahams. We're seeing these very rich Silicon Valley titans now also forming a collective and now sort of coming up to become level face to face and as powerful with the government. And we're seeing them start to rule, them starting to become more powerful and exert more influence than the government. And so, yeah, we have a plutocratic regime that is starting to unfold. We're seeing, just this morning, I was seeing Donald Trump taking questions and giving statements from the Oval Office, sitting at his desk where US presidents sit, and Elon Musk standing next to him holding his son, and it's a press conference. So we are seeing now an Elon Musk who is now in government. He's running a department, I think it's called DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. Yeah, I think the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, yeah, correct. So Elon Musk is now playing a very serious and central role in US politics, and him being a South African and being a supporter of the lies and conspiracies that white people really tend to believe, especially the conspiracies pumped by the AfriForum. We're seeing a tag team now of a president, a properly elected somebody, and a plutocrat, a billionaire, standing together and agreeing that South Africa is committing certain crimes which it is not committing. And so, with this whole salad now, where Elon Musk, a South African, is and has always had a beef with Julius Malema, is now in government and is now running a Department of Government Efficiency, and his tag team partner is the President of the United States, who has called South Africa and African countries shitholes that are corrupt and full of nonsensical minded men who can't think and run a country for nothing. We seem to be at the beginning of a discourse that is going to run for quite a long time. And Elon Musk, being the man that he is, he's not one who's going to back off from Julius Malema. And that seems now to be a conversation that seems to be evergreen, a conversation that is going to unfold. Julius Malema himself will probably take the opportunity to fire back whenever he can towards Elon Musk, because the economic freedom fighters is declining, with Mbuyiseni Ndlozi leaving, as I mentioned, and Floyd Shivambu having left earlier with Dalimpofu. The relevance of the EFF is on the down low, and Julius Malema is going to have to take this opportunity as well and capitalize on it like I am and speak and respond and make himself relevant. And while he does that, I will also be putting my head in there and giving commentary as honestly as I can. Truly, that's what I'm trying to do. This is a particularly important time, I feel. Over and above just capitalizing on this opportunity and wanting to feed the algorithm and speak on racial issues, I want and I see this as an opportunity for people of different races to really see who we are and where we are in 2025. There was some time ago when I used to watch football. Just a quick context. I don't really watch football that much anymore. I'm way too busy. And I don't have DSTV. I used to see boards there and signs that are saying no to racism, no to racism. And during Obama's presidency, during that time, there was this feeling that says really racism might actually be flattened out. We really were thinking, and this is the South African mindset as well. Because we've freshly come out of apartheid. The people of this nation the people of the Rainbow Nation, we've had a notion, an idea that says racism is an old concept, discrimination and supremacy are things of old, and we are on the way transitioning out of that. We were believing that as time goes and Black people become CEOs of companies and board members, and they become stars, in all sports across the world, and they become pilots, and they become scholars and poets and actors. We thought that, and I think humanity, I don't know, maybe some people have accepted that racism will never end, but my mindset, being a young person, having only lived this much time here on earth, I thought that racism will fall away. I thought that it's a trend. It's something that will cease to exist. But I'm realizing that no. Wait. Here is now a white president that we've seen before and we've heard before. We've heard him talk about Mexico and Mexicans being people who are thieves and rapists, and why the border should be closed. There are people who are drug dealers. We've heard that before, and it was quite shocking because that came after Obama, a period where we really felt like racism would be going down. This man came back and he said those kind of statements, and more of them started to appear on Twitter. More people became energized to speak that way. And while he was energizing people on that side, we were also being energized on this side. And it was then that I started having the realization that no, racism cannot regress. It may, dip by 1% or 2, but when it rises in orders of magnitude, and then it only dips back by 1% and rises, by teraflops again. Oh my Lord. So the issue of race and racism and supremacy is on the field. White people in the United States are currently sharing and posting songs where Julius Malema has sung "Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer." Here's another one where they're also showing and posting about Andile Mqitama, who has said that for every Black person who gets, we should also take the lives of 5 white people.
Each one person that is being killed by the taxi industry will kill 5 white people. For every one Black person will kill 5 white people. Who kill one of us, will kill 5 of you. We'll kill the children, we'll kill the women, we'll kill anything that we find on our way. They kill one of us, we kill how many? They kill one of us, we kill how many? They kill one of us, we kill how many whites? We kill the children, we kill the women, we kill their dogs, we kill their cats, we kill anything that comes.
So those things, watching them today as my grown self, who is past party politics and the EFF, as a man who has come to Jesus and coming to Christ being the primary reason why I started to distance myself slowly from the economic freedom fighters. I was convicted by a certain preaching that I was listening to, which spoke against human beings, creations of God, speaking against each other's groups, speaking against each other's distinct identities as God has made us. So speaking badly, speaking with malice, feeling that evil goodness that comes out of your heart. I felt that thing. I know it. I've been there. I know how nice it is to stick it to white people. I've been there. I've gone and insulted and demeaned Afrikaners and white people so much that they would block me. And I felt really empowered because, I told him then, having always been a Christian, Christ pulled me back. And I started assessing myself and I started assessing the things I was doing. I started assessing the passion that I had for politics and wondered, if God was to ask me, why are you so passionate about Julius Malema and not my son? What are you going to say? If I asked you why you haven't spoken the message of salvation and you've gone and spoken Marxism, what are you going to say? If I've sent you to speak peace and repentance, and you went and became radicalized, agitated, and thrown into the field where you went and sang songs calling for the Boer to be kissed, what are you going to say? So I started backing off. I started realizing that I've been radicalized. Yes, there was a reason at the very beginning to follow the EFF. My primary reason was Mbuyiseni Ndlozi. I got convinced to follow the EFF when I first saw them, Julius and Floyd and Mbuyiseni, launching the party. As they were speaking about forming an organization, I knew that these guys from the ANC Youth League would be a formidable young force to get behind. So I paid attention. And then their launching of the organization happened where I grew up in a township called Tembisa, which is just like 14 kilometers in this exact direction. So when the EFF came to my hood, I was very excited and I came out and went out and got burnt by the sun and I started learning to dance, to do house. When they sing this song, we sing it. When they clap, we clap. When they say trrr, pa, we say trrr, pa. That's what started happening. And then I saw the EFF sort of being effective. When they first got into parliament, we then now started seeing them on TV and I was constantly glued to them, watching them on TV and hopping on to Power FM to listen to Iman Rapeti in the morning when she was on Power FM speaking on these issues. I was becoming woke to politics. And this is where I really got caught, where I really became convinced. That's when a new member of this new party who lives out in a hostel in Tembisa, he got killed by hostel members who are said to be ANC members. And I then saw the EFF announcing on Twitter that Julius and Mbuyiseni would be coming to Tembisa to come and console the family and go visit the hostel and speak and try to speak to the men who had done this. So knowing where the hostel is located and knowing a friend who lives at the hostel, I hit him up and I said, yo dude, I'm coming, I gotta take some photos. I love this new organization. I would like to meet this guy called Mbuyiseni Ndlozi. He sounds so delicate. He sounds so dangerous at the same time. He sounds so deep. He sounds so Malcolm X-y, and I want that for myself. Maybe if I go there and I'm busy taking pictures, maybe I'll get his phone number or get to ask him a question or something like that. Maybe I'll get him to see me and remember me so that I can become a member and work myself up and remind him, yo, I'm that photographer, man. You encouraged me way back then. I started having those kind of fantasies. And so I ran to the hostel. I saw the EFF in action. A large crowd came. A lot of police came. And I was busy photographing. And as I was photographing, it seems the police believed that I'm a journalist, never even having a lanyard saying press or anything like that. I started being given space. When people were starting to rush and stampede, the police started sort of protecting me. And that was for the first time where I felt like a media person, actually. So now being here in front of a camera in my apartment, sitting here talking to you, being on YouTube like this, my very first experience and entrance into politics and media happened at this very moment. I felt like I'm a journalist. And then after confronting the people at the hostel, they decided that they were now going to take a drive 2 kilometers up the road to the police station to go and speak to the station commander there and ask him what the hell is going on. with the case? Why is the case struggling to be opened? Why are people not being interviewed and arrested? And we were allowed to enter a room where the EFF, I think there was also Hlengiwe Mkhaliphi. Hlengiwe Mkhaliphi was also among them. Hlengiwe Mkhaliphi was there, and there was the station commander with some senior police officers, and they tried to have a back and forth dialogue. And I noticed Julius and Mbuyiseni very, very, very emotional and supercharged, like how you see them on TV. I saw them full on fire, going in, wanting answers, angry at the blood of their brother and their boot on the ground being spilled. And I became convinced at that point that, yo, man, this is the stuff I need to get with. These are people who are out to protect people like me. And so for that reason, for intellectual reasons, I know people like to make insults about people who follow the economic freedom fighters being drunk, township low lives. That's how they put it. Can't put it any other way. They say that we are people who just don't think, people who just want to riot. I'll have you know that those were my reasons for coming to the organization. It was Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, it was his brightness. I wanted to be close to it. And so I became now a member of the party. And along the way, with all of these degenerate tactics that I am noting, you eventually have no choice but to fall under the degenerate tactics of throwing hate directly back. That these degenerate tactics that are seemingly made legit by how the white people on the other side are also speaking about us black people. There was just no other way but to go from coming into this party for intellectualism to then descending now down the funnel into the arena of actually being a extreme leftist versus radical right-wingers like Donald Trump, who was in his first presidency, and him and Tucker Carlson and this other woman, I can't remember, his name was Lauren something, who was a right-wing journalist as well. During that time, they were spreading the propaganda about white people being killed and their farms being taken. All the way back then, I came in contact with Donald Trump, the media, racism, fighting a race war. And so now I've been brought out of a semi-retirement. I've been busy for some time. I've been healing my marriage. I've been well and happy in it. And I will sit down with my wife on our YouTube channel and speak to those issues on that channel. But perhaps this channel going forward, with so much content to milk around this issue, around the whole United States talking in our direction, man, this is a whole another fat chance to get on the commentary bandwagon and perhaps grow my YouTube channel, because I've been at peace. I've been all right with my wife, and maybe we can speak more on these issues and give commentary to them later. So before I wrap up, I wanted to wrap up and perhaps give this up to another video. But while I'm on this, pace, and while I'm on this passion to open up and break the ice and speak about this, let me speak to what is currently happening and my take and what I feel about the videos that are being brought out about Andile Mgqithama and Julius Malema singing the song "Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer." I'll bleep out the K's there. So, ladies and gentlemen, straight up, those utterances, those songs are not good. Those songs call hate on another people. And those who are singing this song, from where they're standing, if you were to still man them, if you were to not degrade them immediately, if you were to just come to a logical tracing of where their mindset is at, you find that the justification in their mind that you arrive at is the fact that there's some skinheads and neo-Nazis on the other side. People whose philosophy is hate, and they are white. Am I justifying anything? No, I'm not. I'm just telling you, still man them. Look at them critically and honestly. Look at them like you're going to write a thesis. Take a proper investigative view. Analyze critically. Analyze honestly. Analyze using the various tools. Put on different lenses until you see the picture. These people have sang these songs and spoken these utterances which aren't good and I back away from. But you have to understand that South Africa is a place like no other. Those utterances may be absolutely shocking to you if you're an American. You love yourself. You live in a rich and nice country, you live a beautiful life, and you live in a superior position and level to black people. And you've never heard people say that about you. You've never thought that somebody who is beneath you would sing songs like that. Why? Because you know yourself to be masters to the black people. You are the layer up here and they are the layer down here. They work for you. They wash your dishes. They run your businesses. You just arrive and do the income statements, do the intellectual cognitive labor, and they sweat. They work for you. So a lot of people are probably shocked, and they've never fathomed that black people could say that and sing that. But you see, you'd be looking at it from that one lens, the lens that says, these are people who need me. These are people who cannot do for themselves. These are people who are not as evolved as we are. And that makes myself and my life very, very necessary. My life as a white person is extremely important, not just to me as myself and my kids, but towards the black person that I'm employing. That's one angle. Look at the other angle. Don't just be surprised. South Africa, as I was saying earlier, is a very special place like no other on earth. The racism here is the finest. The large gap and difference between black people who are actually here, black people here, and the white people who are very rich, the Afrikaners, the elite ruling class. The gap is so large, bro. Imagine a sport imagine soccer, right? And in this sport, it's boxing. Let's make an example with boxing. Imagine we've got this dystopian boxing where the lovers of the sport and the organizers of it have created it in such a way that they have a very big muscled Mike Tyson fighting a very skinny person. That's how the sport is laid out. It's constantly a big person versus a very small person. The beating of that smaller person, if you can imagine such content, would be of such a horrible and funny and terrible way, but it would be entertaining to some people. Imagine that as a sport. Imagine a sport where the big team always thrashes the small team by 10 goals plus in every match. Imagine a sport where it's men versus women in sports that depend on muscle. Truly, you would come to a conclusion if you are the bigger one in these sports that, man, definitely superior in every way. I'm unmatchable. I'm undefeatable. Now, that is a dystopian picture that I'm trying to set for you. I hope you get it. Maybe it was awkward. Maybe I shouldn't have said it. Maybe you got it. But listen, that sort of strange movie, that's what white kids in South Africa are born into. They are born into a situation where their resources, their access, their historic privilege is so great and mighty that they have no choice other than to think that this is really by divine anointing. Mindset of supremacy are born under these kind of conditions. And opinions that are supremacist and demeaning and downputting towards black people just start flowing out of their mouths. And the parents in the home probably teach this to the children. And so you get a situation where you just cannot convince a young white Afrikaner who's getting radicalized into beliefs of their own supremacy. You can't get them to not believe that no matter what you do, because it's a skinny person versus a big person. This dystopian movie is alive currently here in South Africa. The racial disparities that were brought by apartheid are so massive that white people genuinely have and live in a bubble that speaks to their total supremacy. And you've got movements on Twitter. You've got neo-Nazi South Africans who are running Twitter accounts constantly slamming and demeaning the black person. So back to Andile Mngxitama and Julius Malema's utterances. As I've said before, these songs and these utterances are horrible, but that's because you might be looking at them in isolation. You might be somewhere, a dude in the United States, living in Silicon Valley, in San Francisco there. You live this very opulent lifestyle where the blacks are doing the small things and the whites are presidents and oligarchy like Elon Musk. And your natural order is that black people need the leaders of society, the white person. So it's shocking and amazing that somebody would sing these songs and say these kind of things. But your context would just be the context of your own narrow mind. Broaden your mind and accept that there is a lot of racism coming out of white people that is influencing the people on the other side to be just as racist and horrible. So maybe that's some context. In some videos to come, we'll be looking at videos and events as they happen. We'll be looking at the conversation back and forth as it happens. I'm not entirely sure that we'll only be having this Elon Musk and South Africa topic back and forth, but let's just define a season. For now, no talking about relationships, no talking about cinematography, no talking about my personal life. Perhaps where it matters, in instances like this where you get to understand who I was and things that I got into and things that I'm now condemning, not because I'm in the pockets or in the favor of any white people or trying to get any such thing. No, I am a real person and I am as personable as possible. I am real and true to myself and my convictions. And so my conviction comes from the Lord. And the Lord says, no, you shall not hate a person made in the image of God. No, you shall not do that. You shall not go out there and agitate for Indians to be killed. You shall not go and agitate for whites to be offed. Shall not go and call for Mexicans to be offed, irrespective of what a skinhead on the other side is doing, irrespective of Elon Musk's Heil to Hitler, a sign of a neo-Nazi. He's rising, and Julius Malema is also rising. We are seeing the return of Donald Trump's first presidency. And going forward, racial tensions are going to be very hotly fueled. And I hope to be on this journey with you, bringing in my opinion. I hope you may get to enjoy it and like it. I'm really rusty. I'm not a politician at all, but I'm not speaking as a politician or much of a political commentator. I'm speaking as a citizen, as somebody who's watching, as somebody who is in media, knows some media, has some cameras, has the ability to get in front of camera, and has something to say about it. I'm a citizen of this country. My kids are living over here. There are lies and propaganda now being pushed by a tech team of president there and oligarchy. And as the situation worsens or improves, if it does, I hope it definitely exposes to us the racism on both our sides. Americans cannot stand there and say, look, racism there. That's the pot calling the kettle black, man. If you're saying people are being dispossessed of land in a forced way, and then your president steps up and says he's going to be taking the Gaza Strip or Palestine, what do you have to say? Don't be a hypocrite. So as these issues happen and racial tensions rise, which I believe they only can, I hope that perhaps we realize how nasty we both are on the other side, and we realize that no one is going to back down. If whites continue to be racist, there are people out there who will retaliate in kind. And there will always be a state of hostility throughout the ages until the Lord returns. If you realize that, then maybe you are hopeful that this situation can expose us to each other and both our racisms can neutralize one another. Because trust you me, don't take it for light, don't take it for naught. Black people are really capable of serious hatred and malice. I'm not trying to send out a warning or being ominous or anything like that. I'm just trying to tell you the truth. I'm just trying to appeal to you with the Spirit of Christ for you to understand a particular thing about people who are oppressed and their position and their perspective and what they feel when they hear things that you say on that side. It can only get worse. For your children, perhaps. Maybe the racism that you deposit, you are hoping you'll be gone when the retaliation arrives on the other side. Well, your kids will grow up in South Africa, for example, and this is more towards the local South Africans. If you allow your mouth to speak hatred towards Black South Africans, you'll only fuel the fire. You'll only fuel the fire of their kids. At the current moment, I don't know if you know South Africa in its spiritual state, but there have been men out here who have been calling for Africans to return to things of old, beliefs of old, to look backward towards the dead, towards the past, towards slavery, and for their minds to stay there. It's a new wave of new age paganism. In the United States, you are being hit by witchcraft, you are being hit by voodoo and people doing manifestations and whatever. That's currently the spiritual climate that the Americans and the Western world is going towards. It's philosophies and mystic beliefs of old. In Africa, in South Africa, black people are being taught as well something of old, something rooted in the past, a mindset focused on slavery. Why? Because it's an agitation that is being prepared. People are being put in a state of constant anger for traumas that they didn't experience, traumas that probably affect them till today, but they didn't fully experience. There's a movement that says, no, take on this full trauma. Do not forget about it. These white people have done this and that. And on the other side, you've got white kids willy-nilly typing rubbish towards black people, out of a supremacist false attitude, out of a setting of the world where you're privileged, but you believe that you're personally made to be superior. No, it's just money, man. It's just your house. It's just the suburb you live in. Your personal condition, your heart, God in your heart, you're struggling with that and you need to go and sort that out. It doesn't matter the car your dad just bought. It doesn't matter the private Afrikaner school that you went to. If you believe that you're superior, God made, you're delusional, you're crazy. And you're gonna go online and say those things. And when you say them, there's going to be someone on the other side who's being prepared for your utterances. And you too, pound for pound, black person and white person, young in South Africa, will grow up to become rivals in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s. If you join politics, you'll join opposing politics. You'll go to the AfriForum and you'll go to the EFF. You'll become a Kali Kriel and you'll become a Julius Malema. You sing the kill the Boer and you will appeal to a nut job president to believe conspiracies, and the president will. And his South African born tech team partner who owns a social media platform will provide an algorithm that spreads the falsehood. And so now here we are. What we did in the past has brought us where we are. The only hope we have is to move forward in a different way. And that's all I'm trying to speak to. That's all I'm trying to bring to this discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy this. I hope I'm back. I hope this continues. I hope the algorithm picks this up because I get tired and demoralized when things don't move. Plus, I got kids and they're taking up my time and they need my time though. So I have to kind of sacrifice this and give them the life that they deserve. But it'll be so much worth it if you like this video and you subscribe and you comment so that the algorithm can pick this up and then I can start monetizing on this channel. Then I can sit down and give you this honest commentary. I'll be neutral. And I hope many of you here are looking for neutrality. Many of you are looking for a godly approach. Maybe many of you are tired of party politics. And so you'll join me and we'll speak something different. I'll see you next time.